I enjoyed what Zechariah and Caleb had to share this morning, and everybody through the feast here, so it's been really enjoyable. Hope everybody has their scriptures with them. Today we're going to be reading from John 14, the Gospel of John 14 and 15. And this is the background of this, of course, is in John 13. This is when Yeshua the Messiah, when he was here on earth, he was having the supper, the Passover supper with his disciples, his friends. So this was his close friends. Some were his relatives. Some were those that had been right with him during his time on earth, ministering to others and sharing with others. So, and in 13 it tells about him washing their feet and sharing and eating, breaking bread with them. And then Caleb read the new commandment he gave unto them in 13:34. I give unto you that you love one another, not as I have loved you, that you shall also love one to another. In 14, Peter asked him, at the end of 13, Peter asked him, "Teacher, why cannot I follow thee now? I will lay down my life for thee." Yeshua said, "Wilt thou lay down thy life for my sake? Verily, verily, I say unto you, the cock shall not crow till thou hast denied me thrice." And then he goes on to share with them what about as a friend. And so I'm going to read through here, but there's quite a few verses. And so at times I'll ask if somebody would like to volunteer and read a section, and then we'll discuss it a little bit. I'd like interaction from those that would like to participate. And if you have some thoughts, we'd like for you to share some of your thoughts. And we'll try to keep it moving along, but we'd like to have those that would like to share. He said, Yeshua was speaking right to his friends, his beloved dozen or so of his disciples. "Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in Yahweh, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. I tell you, I must go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go ye know, and also the way ye know." So it's interesting. He said in his house are many mansions. If you studied at all, I've seen anything of the stars and the literally billions and what he created in the heavens. It's a great representation of what he can do to provide for his children, for his friends, those that he loves. It says many mansions. That's just a very he explained it in a very simple sentence there, but if you see how intricate and complex and how vast the heavens are, they're just seen beyond it. Just recently I saw something on the Hubble telescope where they're seeing as far as they can see out there, and it is just really hard for us to comprehend. And he has so many things for us in his eternity and time, eternity without time, you might say, that it's pretty exciting. When you think of that, just in this one instance, he said, in his Father's house are many mansions. It's just quite an amazing story. I can remember the guy's name. He was a scientist. His name was John Campbell-John, and he had studied what that really meant, the house and the mansions and the heavens, and it was quite amazing, and that's always stuck with me. He goes on to say, Thomas said unto him, Teacher, Rabbi, we know not whether thou goest, and how we know not whither thou goest, and how can we know the way? Because you just said you know the way. I go, where I go, you know, and the way that you know. And Yeshua said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. So that's a very comforting, positive thought there. I am the way, the truth, and the life. So he said he's going to go on and speak about his Father and him and their relationship. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. If ye had known me, ye would have known my Father also. And from henceforth ye know him and have seen me. So he said, I'm here, and you know my Father by me and by my works, what I've taught you, my being here daily with you. Philip said unto him, Rabbi, show us the Father, and it sufficeth us. So Yeshua said unto him, have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. So he was explaining that if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. And how sayest then that, show us the Father? Why do you say, show us the Father? If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. So he had spoken other times that he and the Father and him were one. And that was a principle that he laid down. Believest, 10, verse 10, believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. He said the Father dwelleth in him. So he really is explaining really how the Holy Spirit, the Spirit that is set apart, is their Spirit, the Father and the Son are one. He's explaining right there, and he goes on to talk about the Comforter. But he said, but the Father that dwelleth in me. So how could his Father dwell in him except for it be through the Spirit that, and the life force, the Spirit that connected them together, and that he is going to share more about how he's going to reveal the Spirit to them. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very work's sake. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also. The greater works than these, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And whatsoever ye ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. So he was showing their close relationship between Father and Son. And that his Father would be glorified for what he was doing as his Son. If ye shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. If you love me, keep my commandments. So he talks about one way that we can love him is keeping his commandments. The things that he taught and the principles that he professed to his friends, to all that would hear, that was, if you love me, keep my commandments. And then he also said, if you ask anything in my name, I will do it. So that's what the promise he has to his friends, to his disciples. I think we all want to be true disciples. It's interesting that he's giving these words not to the multitudes that he fed. He did give them words of encouragement and words of principles and life-giving principles, but he's sharing this right with his 12. Children, have any of you ever seen a picture of like what they call the Last Supper or the Passover before he was given unto the men that wanted to kill him? Has anyone seen pictures of that? in books or Bibles? Well, they are picturing, they were right there, right very close to him. He was speaking right to them in a very, very close, intimate setting. Would anybody like to read 16 through 21? Would anyone like to read that? And we'll. Okay, well, I'll read it then. And I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, and that he may abide with you forever. The Spirit of truth, which the world cannot receive, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him, but ye know him, for he dwelleth in you, and shall be in you. I will not leave you comfortless, I will come to you. So he's saying the Spirit of truth, the Comforter, that he's going to leave, not leave them comfortless, but he says, I'll come unto you. So to me, it's very intimate. The Father, the Son, and the Spirit that unites them, and that he said he's not going to leave you comfortless, and he leave them comfortless as friends, but he's going to come unto them. If he's come unto them, he's saying he's going to come unto them. He talks again about coming unto them again. Also, he talks about them coming, the Spirit, of truth coming unto them. So that's one way that he can, that's one way, a great impartation of how he is leading and guiding us. Then it says, Yet a little while, and the world seeth me no more, but ye shall see me because I live. Ye shall live also. At that day ye shall know that I am in my Father, and ye in me, and I in you. So he's putting a lot of principles there. And in that day ye shall know that I am in my Father, and ye in me, and I in you. That's very close intertwining of his friends, his disciples, the Messiah, and his Father. And he doesn't, right there, it's interesting, he doesn't talk about a big separation between heavens, I'm going way away, way far away. He's talking pretty intimately that he's going to be right there. His Comforter is there, his Spirit's there, and he's with them. And he said, I'm right here with you, and I'm with my Father, and you're with us. It's all very intimate. It's a very special thing. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me, and he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him, and will manifest myself to him. It's another statement of the great personal, intimate relationship with his friends, those that he loves, those that are close to him, that love him, keep his commandments. Then it says Judah, not Iscariot, so it wasn't Judas Iscariot, but it was the other Judah, saith unto him, Rabbi, how is it that thou wilt manifest thyself unto us and not unto the world? So he said, how are you going to manifest to us, but not unto the world? Yeshua answered and said unto him, If a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode with him. So that, I see no separation. I know I don't see any separation of the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. They're all one. And he says he'll make his abode with him. They all have the same purpose. They all have the same mind, the same will. The Spirit is united to them. It says right there in John here, if a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode with him. There is just no separation there. And I trust we can all understand this, because in certain religious circles, there's a great separation. And right there, he's speaking right directly to them. And he says that we will make our abode with him. He that loveth me not keepeth not my sayings, and the word which ye hear is not mine, but the Father's which sent me. He said, I do my Father's work, I'm about my Father's business, I do what my Father says. These things have I spoken unto you, being yet present with you. So I'm right here with you, and I'm speaking to you. But he says, but the Comforter, which is the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, shall teach you all things, and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you. I'm not saying that I totally understand this to its fullness. And I think a lot of us will spend a lifetime of understanding and getting more of His Spirit and His revealing of Himself to us. But he says right there, he says that the Spirit that Him and His Father are one in, this set apart, special Spirit, this communication, this always being in one another, they're going to send that to teach all things, because He couldn't be present with them physically at all times. He was just speaking there of His death. And you remember what Peter said, I'll go wherever with you, but he's speaking and giving them greater principles that they can put their whole life and live their lives upon, which they did. They did great things as they continued on this earth after Yeshua went to be with His Father again, returned to His Father. 27. Would anyone like to read 27 to 31, the end of 14? Oh, there you go. Sorry. Okay.
Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let it be afraid. You have heard me say to you, I am going away and coming back to you. If you love me, you would rejoice, because I said, I am going to the Father, for my Father is greater than I. And now I have told you before it comes, that when it does come to pass, you may believe.
Okay, so he's explaining there that he's going to give them peace, and the Comforter, the Teacher, the Spirit of truth, and not as the world giveth, and not let your hearts be troubled, nor be afraid. And he says, I go away because my Father is greater than me. See, he honors his Father. His Father is greater than him. He's honoring his Father, keeping the commandments, and that he's going to his Father, and that I have told you before. So he's telling him right now, he discussed it with them, that when it comes to pass, that they won't be afraid or troubled. So he's sharing with them what's going to happen imminently or at close hand. Hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh and hath nothing in common with me, but that the world may know that I love the Father, and as the Father gave me commandment, even so I must do. So he's saying, I'm doing the commandments my Father gave me, and I'm doing what he's instructed me to do, and that the world may know that I love the Father. So then he continues right on with the first part of chapter 15. Does anybody like to read that? First 9 verses of chapter 15. Anybody like to? Okay.
I I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit he takes away, and every branch that bears fruit he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. You are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me and I in him bears much fruit, for without me you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is cast out as a branch and is withered, and they gather them and throw them into the fire, and they are burned. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, you will ask what you desire, and it shall be done for you. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, so you will be my disciples.
Thank you. Can you imagine, now we know that John, through inspiration and remembrance, wrote this down again, and he was right there listening. Can you imagine him listening to this and having his best friend? Think of it as your best friend, someone that you had spent days and weeks, months traveling with and sharing together, and he's sharing that a relationship that they could understand, because they all had at that time were very familiar with gardens, and their vine dressers are keeping their vines and healthy and bearing fruit. So he explains it in a way that they can really relate to. And so he talks about the fruit, and that he prunes us, he prunes them that is bearing fruit, and those that don't bear fruit are cast away or pruned off of the vine, completely purged or taken away. All of us have done a certain amount of pruning in our lives. We can relate to it too. We want to be the branches that increase and increase and get stronger and bear more fruit. And he talks about abiding in him. Zechariah talked about abiding, and Caleb and other speakers and others that we've shared with. Abiding in him, and I in you. And the branch cannot bear fruit of itself except it abide in the vine. So he's saying you have to be connected. That's what's been talked about. That a lot of people recognize that. All of us recognize we have to be connected to the vine, and to the spirit of truth that he talked about here. I am the vine, and ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. So that's the part that we're connected to him as the main vine, the sustenance there, and that's where we can say truly without him we can do nothing. So we need to be connected to the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Pretty all together there. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth. So we don't want to be like that and cast in the fire and burned. That purges or purifies. If ye abide in me, my words abide in you, and ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit, so shall ye be my disciples. So he talks about names them by name, disciples. As the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you. Continue in my love. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. So there we're talking again about doing his words, abiding in his commandments, doing his commandments, and that he did his Father's will, his commands, his instructions, and he abided in love with his Father, or our Heavenly Father, the Father of, Creator of all, the Father of fathers. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. So he's explaining what he's going to do. He's laying down his life for his friends so that they can be even more. He said, I go to another place, I think one of the other Gospels, he goes to his Father, so basically so they can have this fuller, richer relationship, because he knew that his time was on earth was allotted, or his time was for a certain period, and that he would do his will of his Father while he was here. So, ye are my friend. Let's see here. So he talks about his disciples here. He calls them disciples. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. That's a restatement of what he said earlier. Greater love hath no man, that he lay down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you. So there's a requirement there. He says, you're my friends if you do what I ask you to do. And I think all of us are those that we ask when we probably feel closer to our children and to others when we ask them to do something and they do it. Yeah, if they don't do it, we don't feel quite as close to them right at that moment. So that's the one way we can think about it and learn about that right here in everyday life. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. Whoops, I missed the verse here. It's important. Ye are my friends, if you do what I command. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant know not what the master doeth, but I have called you friends. For all things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you. So he said, what my Father spoke to me, heard from my Father, I shared with you. And it's interesting because I think a lot of us might at some time feel we have a servant-master relationship, but he wants us to come into the friend relationship. A master, you don't always know where he's going. You know, he says, go here and do this. The servant does it because he wants to please the master. He says, go here and do this and say this and do this. But when you're a friend, then you have the love, you have that closer communication. So all of us are wanting more of that friendship, that closeness. That's our walk. That's why we're all here today, is we want to be closer to him. So ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit shall remain, and whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it to you. So that's pretty important. So we want to ask in his will. We want to ask in his what will bring forth fruit, what's ordained, and the Father will give it to you. We know in a measure, all of us have seen when we ask Yahweh for something like a healing, or to help us, or to, his comforter, or for peace or safety, and he gave it. He gave it to us. So we've seen that in different measures, meaning different degrees. But he said, right there, he said, if you ask whatsoever you ask of the Father in my name, he shall give it to you. These things I command you, that ye love one another. He restates that again, about the third or fourth time, that ye love one another. So we definitely want to love one another.